Hello, truth seekers. Lawrence here, and welcome to Easy Enlightenment. So, you are on your spiritual journey trying to figure out the truth, the absolute truth. And I hope you're seeking the absolute truth. Now, if you're able to see the truth, you will also realize how foolish you were in your spiritual path. I'm saying this because the truth resides in the plain sights. And all the efforts in the past were simply turning your face away from the truth. Even the effort that is helping you to get to the truth. The effort that is helping you to get to the truth itself is a barrier until it is not. Why? Because resting in who you are, you have to give up your mind and your effort. And your effort to get to the truth is the barrier. From the truth context, trying is making you move from who you are. However, now we have to try to get to who we are, to get to the absolute truth because of our conditioning. Everyone is conditioned physically, mentally, emotionally, psychologically. Everyone is conditioned. Because of the ingrained conditioning, we have to do the work now. The effort has to be there to be free. Without the effort, you can't see the truth now. Some people do say that, oh, to be yourself, you don't have to try. And that's completely bullshit. To see the root cause of the suffering, you have to look. The looking is effort. Without effort, you cannot see the root cause of the suffering, and you cannot eliminate the root altogether. So when people say you don't have to try, you just be. Just being doesn't do anything. In the first place, people even don't know how to be. And that just trying to be doesn't dissolve the ingrained fear. I have this question for the people who say, oh, you don't have to try to be free. This is the question for you. Aren't you living with fear? Don't you have fear in your life? And 100%, there's a fear. So, effort has to be there to be free from the fear, to free from the inner drama. Now, not to create any further foolishness of ourselves, we need to know what is true. The concept has to be there first. We need to know the right reference, what is true, and how to get there. It is very important to know the correct reference. And after that, we allow this reference as a reminder not to get lost in the spiritual path. It is important to know. Otherwise, you will wander in the spiritual or in a spiritual journey, and you keep guessing And every time there is a heightened experience you go through and you assume to be true, like mystical experiences. No matter how many mystical experiences you have gone through, notice it starts to lose its effect. By the way, no matter how much mystical experience you go through, how upgraded, refined experience you go through, if your fear, if your conflict, inner drama is is not dissolved, then your experience already should make you recognize that experience and ideas are not true. It doesn't dissolve the struggle. So that's why the reference is important. The reference to maintain in the spiritual path is truth, the absolute truth, or your true nature is not an idea, it's not an experience, it's not memories, it's not the visual effect. It's simple. Truth is simple. And it's who you are. And that itself is a consciousness. And the nature of the consciousness is conscious and empty. The observer self in you. And to rest in observer self, you have to empty yourself. Because right now, who you are is the identification of the mind. You are something today. That is identification, right? You hold on to that mental identification and your life is built on that identification. And everything you're doing is coming from there and making that identification stronger and stronger. And that identification is what? Simply an ego self. When the truth is missing, you hold on to identification. You hold on to identification because of the fear of unknown, fear of struggle, fear of being nobody, fear of, ultimately, fear of death. So the ego doesn't want to die. So the ego self hold on to something. Holding on to something itself is the game of the ego, and ego prolongs further drama to maintain that identification. So the reference is truth is not an idea, not a visual effect in you. Truth is the background that supports the ideas to come and go, the experience to come and go, the visual effect to come and go. The truth is that background, the plain sight, the observer part of you. So keep this reference as a background to remind yourself, or to remind yourself when you assume something to be true, have this to check, not to get caught up in a false reality. Now, how to get to the truth? Truth is not an idea, or truth is not a belief or mind. And the journey to get to the truth is becoming empty. So you have to empty your mind. So the journey to get to the truth is dismantling the mind, or tracing the mind backward. You identify yourself with certain mentality, certain belief in you. Now you trace your belief backward. Why do I hold on to this belief? Why this belief is true for me? So trace your belief backward. And when you trace it back, then you'll figure out the reason to hold on to your belief. and why you fight with the belief with yourself and with the world. So you find the root cause of maintaining certain belief in your life. And to figure out the truth, the root itself is the ingrained belief, the conditioning. So to see your true face, which is a faceless face, to see your true self, you have to let go the ingrained conditioning as well. That's the root. All the root must be uprooted until nothing is left. So when you see the root, which is the ingrained belief, you have to uproot that as well. So when your life is supported on the surface with certain identification, the truth journey, the enlightenment journey, is asking you to let go the root as well. And that's where you start to encounter the fear of letting go, fear of surrendering. And now once you see the fear, it's good. Now you have to work on the fear. So you're deepening the inward journey after seeing the fear. Just tracing your identification backward it's just a dent in the spiritual path. Seeing the fear and working on the fear, deepens the work. Then you start to see, the emotional conflict, the psychological conflict when you work on your fear. So when you see the ingrained belief, you have to let go of that. Now the fear is there. Now you have to work on tracing the fear backward by asking yourself, why am I scared to let go? Why do I have this fear of letting go? And that simple question will help you to trace the mind backward. No matter what answer resurface, keep using it to trace your mind backward until the no mind is left. So that's the enlightenment journey, to figure out the unchanging truth. You got to witness yourself. You got to, watch yourself, and you got to trace your belief backward until no belief is left. And this tracing back the mind prepares you. And if you do the work with that uncompromising attitude, investigating every subtle layers in you, and after that work, when you ask yourself, who am I? That's where you're going to click. That's where you're going to catch yourself. You'll catch your ego resurfacing. And you realize that the truth cannot comprehend, the ego self cannot comprehend the truth. And that's where ego gives up. That's where you give up and rest in who you are as consciousness. The enlightenment journey is about giving up yourself, giving up your mental self, giving up your ego self, giving up the layers. That's enlightenment journey, my friend. So, when you see the truth, you realize how foolish you were in the spiritual path. Most of the time, you're putting the effort, but your effort itself is turning your face away from the truth, including your effort that is helping you to move close to the truth. So, all effort is a barrier to see the truth from the truth sense, from the truth perspective, from the enlightenment perspective. Again, don't get me wrong. If the effort itself is keeping you away from your true self, then why bother? That's a valid question. Why? Because life is already conditioned. From your childhood to till now, your life has conditioned tremendously, decades and decades of conditioning. And because of the conditioning, we have to put the effort to undo the conditioning. And that's the journey. Effort has to be there. Without the effort, you cannot undo the conditioning. Without effort, you will only condition further and further and making your ego stronger, stubborn and stubborn. So how to drop the ego is now investigating the mind and tracing the mind backward. Effort is needed in the spiritual journey. Again, if someone says, oh, you don't need to try to be yourself, they don't know what they're talking about. And, just resting in your meditation, closing your eyes, it's not going to help. It's not going to help. So, if you have done, meditation for decades and decades, and if your fear is still there, and if you're not able to see the absolute truth, that should make you realize that sitting in the meditation and giving up the effort of witnessing, dismantling, is not going to solve the problem. It's an effort to make you become effortless. Even you are the truth. The truth is within you. That doesn't do anything. And you know it from your experience. Okay, I hope this video makes sense to you. Do the work, my friend. Dismantling is necessary. Okay, thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care for now. Bye.